Welcome to class, everybody. Today, we're putting on our philosophical detective hats to unravel one of the oldest, most fascinating mysteries in human history. We toss the word know around constantly in our daily lives, but what does it actually mean to truly know something? In this explainer, we're going to tear down our basic assumptions about truth, belief, and honestly, reality itself. Let's get right into it.
Here is our roadmap for today's lecture. We'll start with what is knowledge, move on to the Gettier Problem, test our ideas out with 3 thought experiments, attempt fixing Plato's theory, and finally confront the problem with justification. All right, section 1, what is knowledge? To figure this out, we've got to travel all the way back in time to roughly 370 BCE to consult Plato. Plato gave us what's known as the justified true belief formula, or the JTB account. He basically argued that if you, the subject, want to claim you know a proposition, 3 incredibly rigid conditions have to be met. First off, it actually has to be true. You can't know a false thing, right? Second, you have to genuinely believe it's true. And third, and this is the absolute kicker, you have to be justified in believing it. You can't just make a wild guess, happen to be right, and claim you knew it all along. You need a valid, logical reason. That makes total sense, right? It's incredibly intuitive.
Which brings us to section 2, the Gettier Problem. So for over 2,000 years, Plato's neat little formula was just accepted as absolute truth. That is, until 1963, when an American philosopher named Edmund Gettier came along and caused a massive academic earthquake. In this brilliantly short paper, Gettier proved that Plato's conditions just weren't enough. He used these really clever counterexamples to show that, actually, you can have full justification, deep belief, and absolute truth, but only arrive at the right answer by pure dumb luck. And as we just established, luck is definitely not knowledge. Moving into section 3, 3 thought experiments, let's look at exactly how Gettier broke the matrix of epistemology. First up, a scenario that actually way predates Gettier. This is from an 8th century Indian Buddhist philosopher named Dharmakirti. Picture a weary, dehydrated nomad trekking across a scorching desert. He crests a sand dune, looks down into a valley, and sees water. He immediately forms the belief, there's water in that valley. But he's actually just looking at an optical illusion. It's a mirage. Here's the twist, though. By a totally bizarre twist of fate, there is real water in that exact spot, buried just beneath the rocks exactly where the mirage is shimmering. So, pause and think about this for a second. Let's run it through Plato's checklist. Is it true there's water? Yes. Does the nomad believe there's water? Yes. Is he justified? Well, yeah, he used his eyes to look at what appeared to be water, but does he actually know it? Absolutely not. His entire reasoning relies on an illusion. He just got incredibly lucky. Okay, let's look at another one. This is British philosopher Bertrand Russell's case from 1948. You know the old saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day? Well, imagine a guy walks into a room and looks at a very high-end, traditionally reliable clock. It says 4:30, so he forms the completely justified belief that it's 4:30, and, by pure cosmic coincidence, it is exactly 4:30 p.m. But, plot twist, that clock is completely broken. It actually stopped ticking days ago. What's so wild about this scenario is how perfectly it mirrors our everyday lives. The guy has a justified true belief, but his quote-unquote knowledge depends 100% on the unbelievable luck of him glancing at that specific broken clock at that exact microscopic second. A minute later, he'd be completely wrong. So again, he doesn't actually possess knowledge. Finally, we've got American philosopher Carl Genet's modern scenario, famously known as fake barn country. Picture a guy named Henry, driving through this beautiful, rural farming landscape. Broad daylight, he's got perfect 20/20 vision. He looks out the window, points at a structure, and says, that is a barn. And he's right, it is a real barn. But what Henry doesn't realize is that he just accidentally drove onto a massive Hollywood movie set. Literally every other structure for miles is a fake, 2-dimensional papier-mâché barn facade. Let's grade Henry. True belief? Yes. Justified? Yeah, he's using normal vision in perfect lighting to identify a super common object. But once again, he's right strictly by accident. He could have easily pointed at a fake piece of plywood 10 seconds earlier and been completely wrong. He just magically happened to pick the one true barn. So looking at our 3 suspects here, they all share the exact same fatal flaw. Whether it's the mirage, the broken clock, or fake barn country, Sheer luck is successfully masquerading as knowledge. And that completely dismantles Plato's 2,000-year-old account. Simply having a justified true belief just doesn't cut it anymore if you want to claim you actually know something. This brings us to Section 4, Fixing Plato's Theory. Let's see how they tried to patch this up. As you can imagine, once Gettier broke the theory, philosophers scrambled to build a fix. They desperately needed to get luck out of the equation. American philosopher Gilbert Harman approached it like a detective looking for a flaw in a suspect's alibi. He suggested the real issue was that these people were relying on false steps in their reasoning, something he called a false lemma. Think about it. The clock guy relies on the false premise that the clock is working. The nomad relies on the false premise that the mirage is a real pool of water.
So Herman simply adds a fourth condition: the subject cannot infer their belief from any falsehoods. And wow, this brilliantly fixes the clock and the mirage. Under his new rule, neither of those guys has knowledge, which feels right. But we have a major problem. It completely fails when applied to Henry and his fake barns. Why? Because Henry didn't use any false premises. He didn't infer a single thing. He literally just looked directly at a real, physical barn and said, "That's a barn." Harman's fix leaves the barn problem totally unsolved.
To tackle the barn problem, philosophers Keith Learer and Thomas Paxson Jr. came up with a totally different approach. They introduced the concept of the defeater. A defeater is basically a hidden piece of evidence out there in the world that, if you knew about it, would completely obliterate your confidence in your belief.
They propose their own fourth condition. There can exist no defeaters for your proposition. And by demanding that absolutely no defeaters exist, this new formula finally solves all three of our Gettier cases. Think about it. If Henry knew the hidden fact that he was on a movie set, his justification is defeated. If the clock guy knew the clock was stopped, his justification is defeated. Boom. It really seems like Learer and Paxson saved the day here.
But let's move to our final section, the problem with justification. Hold your horses, class, because before we declare total victory over epistemology and call it a day, we have to look at the massive new loophole we literally just created. If every single piece of contrary evidence out there in the vast universe can act as a hidden defeater to your justification, do you actually know anything at all? Seriously, we get almost all of our knowledge from our environment and other people, but there's always some unknown evidence out there somewhere that could weaken our beliefs. To put this somewhat terrifying reality into perspective, let's look at a concrete example. According to social research by DePaulo and others, the average person tells exactly this many lies per day. 1. Just 1. So imagine someone walks up and tells you a fact right now. Unbeknownst to you, statistically speaking, it's highly probable they've already told a lie today. Is that hidden fact a defeater? Does it completely ruin your justification for believing them? I want you to leave this explainer pondering exactly this. If everyone around you is potentially hiding a lie, or a fake barn, or a broken clock, how justified are you in your everyday beliefs? Do you actually possess real knowledge, or are you just getting lucky? Keep questioning everything, class, and I'll catch you